Hello, this LP3 training video is actually going to cover a couple of areas. ECOA, which is Equal Credit Opportunity Act, and ECOA for the software is any credit denial letters. And under ECOA, you can create an ECOA letter. You can search for an ECOA letter that's already been created before, which is credit denial letter. Or you can do a credit denial ECOA test. Additionally, we're going to go over configuration and ECOA info because they tie together. So let's take a quick look at ECOA and ECOA search. So if you have created credit denial letters for people in the past, you can go to ECOA and ECOA search. If it's more than are on one page, which I guess after you've been doing business for a month or two, you're going to have quite a few denials. You can search for the customer by last four of their social, first name, last name, start, end date of when letters were denied. You can have the search come up denials, approved for less, current, and approved for less new. So if these are unchecked, approved for less and approved for less new, then only the denial letters will come up. You'll see that we have the customer's name, we have the date of the denial, and the type. This was a denial letter. Here we have approved for less letter, denial, denial, approved for less, denial. So you can see the type here is relevant to what you have checked whenever you're doing a search. Or you could just search for a person's name and it will pull up whatever letter, denial letter that you did for them, approved for less, or just general denial for credit period. The source, which is where you got the information from that you used to deny the person. And for demo purposes, majority of the credit will be pulled from the credit bureau, but you might call, say, another loan store because they said they took out a loan with someone else, maybe find out what their credit worthiness was there, and said, they never paid. So that might be an outside source, but a lot of times you'll pull a bureau and you'll see whether or not they haven't paid people. So committal, we'll go over committal, yes or no, what that is in the config and ECOA settings. Right now, Experian is the default bureau for this demo site, but the default bureau is set under config and credit bureau information. Right now we have Experian as the default credit bureau for this demo. If you pull up view print, so we're going to go ahead and pull up the credit denial letter for this David box. When you click on view print, it'll pull up a link to then pull up the PDF. You will have company information and then your loan. This was just a general denial. So your loan application is greatly appreciated. Regretfully, when unable to grant the loan at this time for reasons stated below, please reapply. The circumstances indicate below have changed, which is delinquent credit. So this account was delinquent, but so it's a fairly just general statement. Now, this particular customer, and under this, when the letter's generated, it has contact information for the Office of Consumer Credit, Federal Trade Commission, address, and things of that nature. So where do these addresses come from that's added into the letters? Let's go ahead and come back here. Well, that part is actually under config and ECOA info. So under ECOA info, you have your federal agency info, name, address, city, state, zip. That will show up under the letters. Any state agency info, so whatever state you're in, it'll be relevant to the state if there's state info that needs to be in the letter. And then credit contact info. So maybe you have a branch location and you don't want them calling the branch or having information about the branch if they receive the ECOA letter. So maybe you want to put the home office in here or a particular person that they can contact if they have questions about it. We also have other info. Other info is where you set whether or not it is a committal and then a full reason list. So let's go ahead and look at committal and what happens when you turn committal on and off. Just go ahead and exit out of the ECO info for now. And then let's go ahead and exit out of the search for now. If you come up under ECOA and then you do ECOA letter, when you're generating an ECOA letter for a customer and you create a credit application under create account and create a credit application, it gives you the option to approve them or create ECOA letter. But if you create ECOA letter, the person's name and address will be filled in here. Type of letter, ECOA letter, denial letter, proof for less, for current customers or for new customers. If committal is selected in your settings, then you have quite a few other options you can choose. Generally, you will have no there because you don't want to really give specific reasons. But if your company wants to give specific reasons for people, then committal being turned on allows you to choose source, outside, inside source. It allows you to do a reason for committal, which there are quite a few options. Maybe length of residence, no credit file found when you did the credit bureau, delinquency credit on the bureau, bankruptcy on their bureau, other, and then you can choose other and then specify the other below when you create the ECOA letter. So under ECOA, you can come in and create a letter. You can search for letters that were already created, and then you have a test to just do an ECOA test. If I come under config, and then I go under ECOA info, and I come under other, and I turn off committal and save, okay? Anytime you do any config changes, it's a good idea after you save to exit out of the software, then go ahead and log back in. And then to make sure your settings take effect that you may have changed under config. So if I come back in now under ECOA and ECOA letter, I am not able to, I can choose source, but I'm not able to choose the reason for committal. So this particular person, let's go ahead and create an ECOA that doesn't have the reason here. Go ahead and create the letter. Take a look at what happened when I generated the letter. And we have statement of action taken on credit application. Your loan application is greatly appreciated. Regretfully, we're unable to grant you loan at this time. Under Fair Credit Reporting, you have the right to make a request no later than 60 days after you receive this notice for disclosure of the reasons for the denial of credit. So maybe you want to give people just general denials, and then if they request, say in writing, no later than 60 days after they receive this letter, then you can send them the reason for that. Otherwise, it's probably best just to generally have committal turned off and just send them a generic denial. The OCCC address, the Federal Trade Commission address, any other information that would be necessary for them to contact for, the for the Equal Credit Opportunity Act will be in the letter that was generated. Let's go ahead and exit this, come back in under ECOA and search. And the last letter's the one we just did, which was just a denial letter, general denial. We didn't pull a bureau on this particular person, didn't pull one on the other example that I did either. Here, committal no. And we can come back in and we can view print this one. This one had a committal, so you could see that the difference is that there was no reason when the committal was turned off, and then whatever committal reason you chose, if you had committal turned on, will be in here also, which for this particular demo customer that I did, it was a delinquent credit I chose. So because the ECOA section here, Equal Credit Opportunity Act, which is what we call our credit denial section, denial letter, search, and test, because this section, it ties in with config and ECOA info. And then additionally, it does tie in with credit bureau info as far as which credit bureau is default. That information shows up in the letters. That's why it was important that I went over both the ECOA section and then the configuration and ECOA info, and then also the credit bureau info, the default bureau. So that was a couple of sections in one training video. Thank you very much.